Hello, everyone, and welcome to Church Rap with Elder E. Um, we are doing this every other Thursday, just trying to make sure that I don't over do it with me having real talk on Mondays. I preach on second and fourth Sundays. So, church rap, I want to take it slow and easy. I want to um, grow it to a place of understanding. Now, tonight, as this is the first day of Black History Month, good evening. Glad to see you on. As this is the first day of Black History Month, I decided that since the show is called Church Rap, we're going to talk about the Black church. We're going to talk about the Black church and the importance of the Black church. We are going to tonight talk about the strength of the Black church and why we need to know it. Because really and truly, when I was looking for things to discuss about the Black church and sort of throwing it up against the proverbial white church, um, what I found was there was a lot of disparaging comments that was placed on the Black church. It was like it was turned into a comedy thing. Oh, the white church, the service is quick and easy. It starts at 11. It's over at 12:13. But the Black church, you go in at 11 and you start at 9:30 and you get out at 9:30 p.m. And those kind of things. And how the choir they sing is calm and silent, and um, they are calm people. But the Black church people falling all out, kneeling down and screaming and hollering. And I'm like, well, truly, you might need to know why the Black church emotes, why the Black church doesn't act as if they need to be all Hasidity. Maybe you need to know where the praise comes from. So tonight I wanted to talk about the Black church. And I do have scripture for you. We are going to be in Matthew, the 16th chapter, and I'm going to start at the 17th verse. And it says, And Jesus answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Barjona, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. This thing you need to understand is his church. And so tonight we're going to talk about the strength of the Black church. The backbone of the Black church is Jesus, because he is that rock that the church is founded on. And we're going to see how we come to that understanding. Now, when I was looking up things, I found some stuff that really was amazing to me. And I'm a person that I'm a researcher of the word. I believe in researching it. I believe in looking up Black history. Hello, good evening, Sister Caldwell. And so I was looking up some things about the strength of the Black church and what we need to know about it. And one of the things that I ran across is I noticed that there seems to be definitely in the civil rights movement, and for anything that dealt with our ability to overcome and our ability to make change, there were preachers always involved. Representative John Lewis also was an ordained Baptist minister. He was one that we really mourned his loss. But he once said the civil rights movement was based on faith. Many of us who were participants in this movement saw our involvement as an extension of our faith. It was a lot of times, I mean, you look at Martin Luther King. And we talk about all of his speeches and everything, but it was his faith that kept him, because when he gave his famous mountaintop, when he said, I've been to the mountaintop, and this was right before his assassination, and what he was letting them know is, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to die. For this cause was I here, put here, my purpose. You see, so many a times it was preachers that taught to the people. But what I want to talk about is what sustained our ancestors that were under the nightmare of enslavement. What sustained them to make it so that they would build families, survive rape and lynchings, and being sold off as property, not being considered as a human, even being considered as sometimes less than the family pet, to defer the gratification of freedom from bondage, all without ever giving up hope of liberty. What empowered them with hope against hope? The writer Daryl Pinckney, in a recent essay, notes, if a person cannot imagine a future, then we would say that he is, or that person is, depressed. But I like how Henry Louis Gates Jr. put another spin on it and said, if a people cannot imagine a future, then its culture will die. Black culture didn't die. The signal aspects of African American culture were planted, watered, given light, and nurtured by the Black church. And I'm going to show y'all tonight just how. The out of the reach and watchful eyes of those who would choke the life out of it. Because see, this is the thing that people didn't understand. You don't understand. Think about how you are when you go to church and when you're in the presence of other people at work, at events. Okay, at work and at events, if they talk about religion, you talk with a theological aspect, you let your collegiate intellectualism come forth. And by that I mean you may speak on it in a philosophical manner. You will not get down with it, you know. Yes, as you'll speak in these like, yes. And from my understanding of the word, then we see, therefore, that Jesus, who is also the Son of God, was God in human flesh. But whereas when you at church, you feel a liberty and a freedom that is not so when you're around others. When we come into church, in the Black church, we are not under the watchful eye of those that would choke us. And today it means not under the watchful eye of those that call us religious fanatics, or say we shouldn't say the things that we say. You know, when you're in church and you go to your church, you subject to say some stuff that ain't politically correct. It's not. And but you feel a freedom because in the Black church, we have always stood on the rock. And we will not back off. Okay. So the Black church provided refuge in a refuge, a place of racial and individual self-affirmation, of teaching. I got my notes here, okay, and I'm gonna be done with them in a minute. And learning, of psychological and spiritual sustenance, of prophetic faith, a symbolic space where Black people, enslaved and free, could nurture the hope for a better world after being systematically brutalized and debased by an inhumane system of human slavery, followed by Jim Crow racism and today's systemic inequity. Yet it is the church and our faith that gives us the continence to press forward. I believe that the Negro National Hymn by James Weldon Johnson expresses the spirit of the Black church and its people. And I want us to look at these words because we're going to talk about this. Look at it. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. That's talking about we sang songs of we sing this song to remember what we gone through. And that's another thing. Hymns. You know, a lot of times, and I'm not through with lift every voice, but I want to talk about the hymns in the church. People don't like hymns. We love all of the praise and worship songs and the latest music. Nothing wrong with it. I have nothing against it. But let me tell you something. It was those hymns that was part of our freedom. It was those hymns that they sang that kept them and gave them that hope. When they were on the journey in the Underground Railroad, it was hymns. Because see, the white man, the master, didn't understand the signals and the words in the song. They sang them just as the person that gave the summary of the white church versus the black church. They sang songs without meaning. We sing songs and we sing them with meaning. So when they heard wade in the water, that song told them to get in the water. So because it meant that the master had the hound dogs after you. But if you got in the water, the hound dog couldn't find your scent and you would be able to continue on your journey. If you heard steal away, they knew that that was a planning for an escape. That meant if you were ready, you needed to get with the right people because they were letting you know there was another plan coming up. There was getting ready to be another group to go on the Underground Railroad. So Steal Away told you they were planning. And when you heard Sweet Chariot swing low, you would rejoice because it meant you were going to be free soon. You were close to the end. And Black Moses, Harriet Tubman, she was going to lead you to freedom. So hymns have been a part of our lives. It tells a story. When we read, that's how come we tell you that when you do your music in church. I used to teach sacred music at the school that I graduated, GDI, Goldsboro Disciple Institute. And I trained them. And one of the things that I always wanted them to understand was the placement of music. When you read about the choir that sang, Shananiah and them, as he led them up the steps, every rung going higher, the music went higher. But it told a story so that when you got to the top, the priest didn't have to do a lot but give the word, read the scrolls, and the people were ready because the singers had already set the atmosphere. So when we see, and this brings me back to lift every voice and sing. When we sing it, we sing this song like we don't know. And I'm here to tell you, I think that it should not be that it's only sang in church every Sunday in February. I think that it should be a song that is the opening song for the congregation every Sunday. Because we should not be, I get so tired of seeing people go, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Because they don't know the own national Negro anthem. You ought to know the song. The song speaks to the liberty. It says, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. That song speaks to you today. Those words teach us, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget the ancestors that shed their blood so that you could have the right to freely go wherever you want it, to freely believe whatever you so desire, to be able to walk into the church boldly. We ought to remember that there was a dark past that was filled and littered with the lynchings and killings of our men, the raping of our women, even when you look at the statistics, it says we know that there was a lot of masters that raped the women, because it shows you that nearly half of all of the African Americans have an overwhelming amount, up to 26% European as their DNA. Now, I did my DNA. I'm more African than anything. From Royal African. West Africa is the biggest, but I'm Senegal. Um, and I don't have my paper, I could tell you all the others. But I do have European, Scottish, and I have Irish. So there is that in there, and that tells me, yes, your skin color tells you what you got. Come on. Everything ain't nothing straight up. You got some other in there. But we have to remember that our people, and then this is my issue with the church. We stand up against each other inside of the church. You knew I was going to get to the part where I was going to put it down. I'm not going to just lift us up, but I'm going to talk about the problems in the church, because it's a candid look at the church. The problem in the Black church, and the only thing that I saw when I was looking at that white church versus the Black church, and one of the things that I saw, and it was really true, is in the white church, I don't care. I don't care if they like the pastor, they don't like the pastor. I don't care if they like the president of the deacon board, or they don't like the president of the deacon board. I don't care if it's that they don't like this choir member or that choir member. They are there for their services. They do not slack. They don't lay around. I can go past a white church on my way to preach at Holly Grove Church of Christ Disciples of Christ in Clinton, North Carolina, 114 North McCullen Road in Clinton, North Carolina. And I can go past the white churches and the Black churches. White church, I can't count how many cars. The whole parking lot is filled. I can tell when I'm passing a Black church. What do I see? I see 10, 12, 15 if it's that good. I ride on further down the road. They locked down. Ain't no parking space. Go a little further down the road. There it is. Plenty of parking space. Black church. Because white churches will support their church. And if they see, they don't have to have building fund raisers. Building fund raisers. They pay. They believe in tithes. You ain't got to argue tithes. You don't have to tell them about tithes. You don't have to do a class on tithes. You don't have to convince them about tithes, because even as slave owners, they did believe in going to church. They believed in church. They believed in giving to their church. Why? Because they believed that if they did that, God would bless them. They believe that. Even to this day, there are philanthropists that are billionaires. And what will they do? They will give. They will give because they believe that if they give, the Lord will give back. See, they have a mentality of just in case. We have a mentality of, I done had to do a lot to get this, and all y'all want is my money all the time. That's the Black man's mentality about their church. But the white man's mentality is just in case. Just in case everything in that Bible is true. Just in case it really does work that if I give, he'll give it back 100-fold. We believe, well, I give this little and he can bless it a lot. We take that scripture. They take the one that says, if you give, he'll give it back 100-fold. So they're getting the bigger blessing because they will do it. And they do it with sincerity. Now, don't get it wrong. You know, we loved, I hate that work the word, but they work the word and they believe it. They give so that they will receive. And some of them, exactly, Sister Smith, some of them are not saved. There are philanthropists that they don't even believe in God, yet they believe in the just in case. So they give. We will not. We hold tight and say, try and fit it in between the little hole. Whatever you can get in there, Lord, get it. I can't open my hand. That's too much of my money. So we need to remember that dark past. Then it says, facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. We have seen in the last 4 years, last 5 years, well, we'll stay 4.5, 5 years. We have watched as systemic inequity and the inequality of a Black man or woman to that of a Caucasian decline further than it already was. Now, we had made some leaps and some bounds. We had. But for some reason, pandemic, we've seen it in the pandemic of 1909, 1877, where it changed the mindset, or no, I'm not going to say it changed the mindset. It brought out the demon in them to do things. And so when the pandemic began, we watched as we were beat up, killed, I can't breathe, the Black movement, Black Lives Matter. And even with that, people had issue that we said Black Lives Matter. They wanted to downplay it with, well, all lives matter. That is so very true. And this is why it's so sad that we have to tell you that Black lives matter. Because all lives matter, but you forgot because y'all was taking Blacks out over anything. Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. I mean, everywhere you looked, there was some, to the point that we even started now, you got memes and stories on Karens because they arose from the bird watchers, if y'all don't know. The bird watcher and calling the police because it was a Black man. It's like, really? And then I look at, I'm going to get back to the song because, okay, the Lord is taking me a different place. I was going to talk about the strength of the Black church, but it is still talking about the strength of the Black church because it's Black church and the strength of the Black church that strengthens the Black people, because it is from the Black church that you have heard from the prolific Martin Luther King Jr. when he said that he dreams of the day that he will be judged by the content of his character and not the color of his skin. And yet we do these big to-dos on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, and we talk about it. And I always go back to this one time, 1 year, that the man said we needed a new dream because Martin's had been realized. And I said, I was talking to some friends and they were like, yeah, I want to hear him because that is so true. And I said, explain to me how that is true. Did you not go to the same interview as that guy? Do you not have a degree and he doesn't? Do you not have experience and he doesn't? But he got the job. Oh, he's Caucasian. And you think that the dream has been realized. You say, yeah, but we got into a BMW and drove down the street. And because it was a car with two black girls and a black guy, we got followed. And you could tell he was running the plate. When he decided and it came back that the plate was clean, he went around us and sped off. So when have we realized the dream? We're still being judged. And if you don't believe that, I'll give you my last proof that we are still fighting for the dream of Martin Luther King. President Barack Obama was never called President Barack Obama. He was called, the black president, Barack Obama. The first black president, Barack Obama. Ain't it cool that we got a black president? Not like Bill Clinton, where you said, yes, and our POTUS, Bill Clinton, and our POTUS, George W. Bush, and our POTUS. No, you didn't hear that when it came to President Barack Obama. It was always the adding of the color of his skin. Or yes, or 45. We didn't want to call his name. He is 45. But yet you think that we have evolved to that place. Inequity is alive and well, so is prejudice and racism. It is alive and well in the United States of America, the melting pot. This is the place where all are supposed to give me your tired, your weary. But we didn't ask to come. We were brought over. And we were brought over on slave ships. We were sold. We was called less than. We were treated. There is no other race that has had as much as we have gone through, other than the Israelites. Okay? But when we look at the Black church, this is where the strength lies. Because no matter what, we always rise. As Maya Angelou said, I rise. See, like a phoenix coming up out of the ashes, still I rise. See, we will not allow inequality. We will not allow brutality, debasement. We will not allow prejudice and racism to hold us down. And the good part is that in the church, what is the strength that we receive from the church? Is that when we come together and we begin to sing that old Negro national anthem and say, let us march on till victory is won. When we say, stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. See, here's the thing that we get from these, and it's talking about we have not had easy street, baby. We are a people that had to fight for everything that we got. Our ancestors had to give of their sweat and their blood just to receive the right to vote. They had to give their life, their sweat, and their blood just to be able to sit in the seat that they had sat in on a bus, whether or not it was the front or the back. And that's how come I tell people, move to the front, baby. Move to the front. Don't ever sit at the back of the bus. You have the right to sit wherever you want, but move to the front. Because for so many years, you were told you could not. We had to fight and give up of our sweat and our blood just for the ability to drink from the same water fountain as a white man. We had to fight and give our sweat and our blood just to be able to go to school. And then after being allowed to go to school, we had to fight the next fight to be able to go to a school that a white man went to. We had to give of our sweat and our blood to be able to assemble ourselves together and not be afraid that our church would be bombed and our children would die. We had to fight, and the road was not easy. We had to taste of the bitter fruit, the strange fruit, and that bitter herb. We had to taste of that and the bitter, the chastening rod. It was a bitter thing because on many occasions we lost the fight for that moment. We had to keep pushing and pressing when they said you could not, you were not. We have fought for the right to vote. Yet we will not go, and they are now trying to cause us to be able to not have a voice because they're trying to change the voting districting lines so that what's more prevalent is the white man than the black man. So we need to pay attention. Look at your politics. Look them up. You don't have anything running right now, so you better start looking and reading on what's out there. Because even in a time such as this, how can a felon and an idiot, I'm so sorry, still be winning the Republican vote? That tells us something. We better start paying attention. Then it says, come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. When will you step up? The strength of the black church is the backbone of the people. It is as strong as we allow it to be. We have gotten weak because we start believing the hype. We started believing that, oh, the world is good. It's a wonderful place. Oh, the United States, so wonderful. It's a loving and kind. And this is how come when George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery's and the Breonna Taylors, when they came forth and things happened, we were at a loss. The anger surged to the top because you had been fooled, bamboozled, hoodwinked into believing a false sense of security that we were all equal. Why? Because I got a good job and I make good money. But you still won't making what they were making. And you were only making a little bit more than the Hispanic, whom you started looking down on. But the truth of the matter is, they just started treating them as the indentured servant. And that was because they had to give us some rights because our ancestors died for it. Okay, let's keep going. We have to remember that we have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. It was the blood of those that went before us, you know, like the blood that still works. But we have to remember that for the freedoms that you so freely take for granted, there was somebody that paid for it in their blood. It was the blood of the slaughtered that gave you the freedom to walk up in a place and demand a refund because you didn't like the way they made your burger. You used to couldn't even walk in the place to order the burger. You had to go to the back door and pick it up. Because let me tell you one thing about them. We might have been enslaved and there might have been Jim Crow. And they might not like the color of our skin, but they sure love the color of our money. And today we do the same thing. I was just speaking about this, and I'm going to go on in a minute. But I was speaking. I said the sad part is that they support each other. They will support. Don't matter if I don't like you. You open the restaurant, we will support. They'll support. Let us open up a restaurant. First thing gonna be said. Well, is it clean? You know, black people nasty. If not, and the sad part is that's a black person saying it about a black person. You know, black people so nasty. The truth of the matter is, if we were so nasty, then a lot of these white babies that are millionaires now wouldn't have been alive because it was the black nanny. And that they was called mammies, not nannies, because they won't pay. But they're black mammies that fed them, cooked for them, and sometimes even breastfed them, and was the wet nurse for them. So they got a lot of black in them. And it was us, it was ours that took care of them. Because the mother was too Hasidic. She could not be in the kitchen. She couldn't do that. How long? I'm going to stay open. Yeah, that's the other. They wonder how long is it going? Yes, we run it down. Wonder how long that's going to stay open. Yeah, I bet it won't be long. Of course it won't, because you're not going to support your own. See, we should learn to buy black because whites know how to buy white. And they know how to get the black man to bring his green money into their stores. See, we don't support. We don't know how to pull together. But see, this is and this is the strength of the black church. This is the thing that and the reason why we need to know about the history of the strength of the black church. Because the problem is that we don't know how to come together, but they did. Like I said, they knew how to warn each other through song. We can see and know that the man is coming, and we will not. Yes, they do, Sister Stevens. They stick together too. Hispanics stick together. Don't care. They can be arguing up a storm. You let another race come up. All of a sudden, they ain't got nothing to say, and they know how to shake hands and walk away. Why? Because they're not going to let you be a part of their stuff. They don't let outsiders in. We do. We will take the word of a different race over our own, even if it's our own child or our own spouse, because we don't know how to bring together and embrace unity and fellowship. That's in the church today, the problem. And I told you I was going to get to the church, didn't I? The church back in our history, they were a wholly, closely knitted group. These people knew that they relied on each other. They relied on each other because Farmer John knew that if Farmer Brown crops didn't do so well, But Farmer John's crops did well, and he had excess. He knew to go down the road and bring Farmer Brown some of the excess. Sort of like Joseph taught them that in the good years to put up in the storehouse, and in the lean years they'd have. So it took care of the people. Well, see, they used to take care of each other. Now you can hear the story of one of your members that's having a hard time. And we'd be like, Lord, I'm going to pray for them. And it's like, don't want to help them. Don't want to try and see what the church can do. We come together, put out a pan maybe, if the person don't mind. Have their money taken up, collected, put it in an envelope and give it to them. I can say that at my church, my home church, they do that. But we don't come together. We hear of something happening, and it's like, well, they got this and they got that. Let me see. Sister Caldwell, you said before they left them, they haven't even put lips and grab. They forget about what they told them they were going to do. Black people don't do what we say we're going to do, or we are going, or you got that right. We don't. We love to talk big talk and never follow through. I'm going to do this. We don't. No, we don't. No. We don't like to come together and help each other. You see a business struggling, we will not come together and say, look, I'm getting ready. My family wants to have a reunion. So you got a catering company. Look, and I hear that it's having some troubles. So my family was going to pay for catering. Y'all, let me tell you what you're going to do. I'll tell you exactly what you're going to do. You're going to go to Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. You're going to go down to Parker's Barbecue. You're going to go to Gardner's. Yeah, these are all white-owned places, if you didn't know. Okay. And they got money. But your friend, this black one in the neighborhood, in the community, in your community, that their business is struggling, yet you've tasted the food, and the food is top-notch, you will complain about how much they want to charge. You want them to give you $2,500 worth of food, and you want it for $600. Plus, you want them to come and serve. Come on. I know this because I done worked with my brother's business, and I done seen it. I seen where the white person came and did the Christmas party using the venue and using his catering, and did not even blink an eye. Signed on the dotted line. Saw the black man have the Christmas party. Came in, he wangled and whined and complained over the price of this, that, and I gotta pay for this too. Or I gotta pay for that too. Well, can't I just this? Can't I just that? What kind of discount you got? Didn't hear the white man say not one word about a discount. And then after they saw what they did, well, what? Well, the white man came back and wanted to sign for the next year's party. Black man, look, we're going to need to see if the OIC can let us rent the building. We bring our own food. We don't know how to come together. Yes, and it does come from distrust when you get with each other and you give them information or you help them with something and then they hurt you or backstab you. But here's the thing, that goes back to think about this. The church of yesteryear. How many times steal away was never told to the master? If you hear them singing, steal away, master. Yeah, steal away. I done found out the code. That means that they getting ready to go and make a run for it. Yes, sir. You didn't hear them tell that. They just sang the song and anybody that was going knew. You needed to be ready because when you heard the song Sweet Chariot, they was about to get ready to go and you would be free soon. Nobody's told the master, look, I know how y'all losing them. Or what they found out is that if you hear them singing, wade in the water, it meant get in the water so that your bloodhounds can't find them. You didn't hear that. See, because in the day back then, they worked together. That's how come the Underground Railroad brought so many to freedom without getting caught. Exactly, Sister Stevens. There are too many of them that are prejudiced. They are jealous of each other. They don't want to see not one get above. But you willing to let the white man fly high, be a billionaire. I mean, even our own inventions, you're willing to sell it off and not fight for the right to have your patent. You go run and tell the white man, and then he gets somebody and get it patent and takes your glory. Yet we won't help each other. But the church of yesteryear, that was the strength of it. It was the fact that when they came together, they knew how to fellowship with each other. I grew up, let me tell you, I grew up in a church that we fellowshipped. And I mean, we fellowshipped. We had service when we had conference every quarter on Sunday. We had the conference on Saturday. And on Sunday, we had potluck. Because here's the thing. You know how conferences go in a black church. Ain't got to lie. But what we did is we knew how to put aside everything and every way that we acted to sit down and sup together. So that on every quarter, we had potluck Sunday and we would come together and eat dinner with each other. And many a times that took care of the issue. But today, we feeding again. We gonna feed. How much is that gonna cost? Oh my goodness, we gonna feed. We brought in things. Now, okay, yeah. There's some people that you don't want them to cook. But that's okay. That's why you had a kitchen committee. Because the kitchen committee knew exactly what to do with the green beans that Sister Cheryl brought that nobody wants because we looking at them going, we don't know what that is. What's that in them? Sit them to the side. And then when won't nobody looking, those went away. And be like, oh, they done ate yours up, girl. Here's your bowl. Because we would dare not let her feel upset and like nobody wanted her. No. Today we will. You gonna bring them nasty green beans. See, we don't have feelings for each other. All we care about is whether or not I'm happy with what's going on. Are you doing things my way and the way I want it? But yeah, I grew up in a church that we fellowshipped. There wasn't no such thing as you was going to have revival and there won't something every night. There was a snack every night. And we used to have 5-night revivals. Then they went to 3-night revivals. And then the pandemic came and it's if you can get a revival. All right. But you didn't. You dared not. Every night there was something after the revival. It was go through and get your refreshments. Lord, you say refreshments now. It's like, what? We got to get refreshments. But well, can't they just come in and leave? Okay. I don't understand that. I grew up with fellowshipping. So we don't understand that was the power. That was the strength. Because the joy of the Lord is our strength. And they had Jesus when it won't nothing else. When they were being debased, they knew how to still say, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. They knew how to say, precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, and let me stand. They knew how to say, God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who has brought us thus far on the way. See, they knew who it was. They didn't question who, they knew who. They knew that in their weary years, it was God that strengthened them. When they had those silent tears because they couldn't cry aloud, they knew it was God who was wiping their tears away. They knew it was God that brought them as far as they were to that victory that was coming. They knew that it was by his might led them into the light. And they wanted him to keep them forever in the path they pray. See, this is the thing that they knew. They knew how to pray. Back in the church, they knew how to pray. Oh Lord, yeah, they still do that today. Yes, I was reading about Richard Loving and Mildred Jeter. I knew their story, and they coming out with it about the first interracial couple and the fight that she got arrested. He didn't. Yeah, in Virginia, you know, that's the state for lovers. Yeah, but they arrested the black woman, not the white man. Okay. But in the church, they knew how to pray. They knew how to pray sincere prayers. They didn't pray these willy-nilly prosper me prayers. Give me some money prayers. They knew what to pray about because they were going through. You don't have somebody that could bust up in there any moment and lynch your husband or lynch your young son just because a white girl said he looked at her. Yeah, don't even take me there. All right. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. That's the problem right there. The strength of the black church has weakened because we got drunk with the wine of the world. We started embracing the world and its concepts. We started embracing, I don't have anything against interracial marriage. My nephew and my oldest, he is married. She is an amazing and awesome young lady. Would not trade her for nothing. Her parents would not trade them for anything. Her family is awesome. They are the best people, and I would not trade them. But we got so caught up that we didn't let it be love that it was about, like Jeter and Richard Loving. See, theirs was a love story. No. Ours was about putting the black woman or the black man down because you said, oh, he ain't no good. He ain't nothing but a dog. He just a dog. He ain't gonna never be nothing but a dog. He ain't got no future. He ain't gonna never work because he lazy and he won't go get a good job. He ain't gonna do nothing but be a drug dealer on the corner. So I need to go get me a man, a white man. And the guys, she too strong. She too mouthy. She ready to fight. I can't deal with a bad attitude. It became that. Not about I fell in love with her and she happened to be white. I fell in love with him and he happened to be white. No, we started dissing our own for the other race. They should. They really should. And I actually want the church. That's a trip that I want to work on for Holly Grove, and that's to take a trip to the National Museum of African American History and Culture in DC. I actually intend to talk with someone about that. So keep a lookout, Sister Stevens. Keep a lookout. But we have to start learning to be that. We got drunk with the wine of the world and we stopped standing on principles. We stopped standing on the principles of the church. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God and true to our native land. We forgot where we came from because we got drunk with the wine of the world. They gave us a little money and a little position, and it went to our heads. We started having some Oprah Winfrey's and some Tyler Perry's, but thank God they didn't forget. But we did. Because we got them, we started thinking we was as rich as them. Like, baby, you ain't got Oprah money, and you ain't got Tyler's either. And the sad part about it is some of us wouldn't know how to act if we did. See, Tyler made sure that he gives back to the blacks. He puts back into the black community. He made sure that things are black owned. He supports black owned. But some of us, if we got $1 million, first thing we do is spend it up in a white man's paradise. Because we don't know how to support each other. We got drunk with the wine of the world. We forget to be true to our God and true to our native land. Okay. Gotcha. We forget who we are. We forget that we're royalty. Baby, we came from royalty. Go and look your history up. Go look it up. Trace yourself. That's what I did. And like I said, when I traced myself, I found out that I came from an empire. Now, mind you, the empire is no longer. But that tells you I came from the royalty because I came from the royal line of the empire. That's what I did. I did a DNA assessment and found out that I was part of that. But do your DNA trace. Find your people. And then see that. Don't forget where you came from. And look, don't say I'm black and I'm proud and do it only for 28 days and sometimes 29. And when March get here, you forget all about it. Keep your mind focused. And remember that the strength of the black people is the black church. It is the one that gave you that foundation, that taught you love your mother and your father. It's the one that taught you that you are somebody in the eyesight of God. That's so very true, Sister Stevens. I can't even mess with that. But they don't. We forget where we came from. We forget who we are. We forget to have true pride in who we are. We are a diverse people. We're the only ones that has many different colors and flavors. We come in vanilla, mocha, caramel, chocolate, dark chocolate. We come in the flavor of milk chocolate. We are brown sugar brown. We have so much diversity in our looks, in our coloring, in our faces, in our body types, and we look good. We age well. Even those of us that have lived and worked in the sun, we still age well. And that is the beauty of being black. Honey, don't forget to have pride in where you came from. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to change it. Don't go bleaching it. Be proud to be a black person, to be a part of a black nation, and rise up. Because as Maya said, like the phoenix, we rise from the ashes. And I'm going to add my own little take on her. We rise from the ashes of enslavement, debasement. of lynchings. We rise still from the ashes of inequality. We rise from the ashes of being beaten down and oppressed. We still rise from the ashes like a phoenix. We take flight. We have to stand forth because, like the phoenix, we are on fire with a life that never dies because we can always see tomorrow when others can't. Be blessed. And I hope that tonight, Church Rap says something to you that will make you think about this month, Black History, taking it further than February. Be proud to be Black. And then stand on your principles, honey. And don't stay drunk with the wine of the world. Open up your eyes and be awake. Have a good night, and I'll see you all on Monday.